Your legs are betraying you right now, even as you listen to this. Most people think aging starts in the heart, brain, or with wrinkled skin. They're wrong. The truth is, your legs are the first to go. And when they do, everything else follows. The statistics are shocking. After 60, you lose 3% of your leg strength every single year unless you fight back. And the worst part? This silent decline begins decades earlier than most realize. But today, I'm giving you the 8 most powerful habits that will not only stop this decline but actually reverse it. Even if you're already feeling the weakness setting in. Let's start with the most crucial one that almost nobody knows about. Before we dive in, if you want to stay strong, independent, and active as you age, hit that subscribe button right now. We reveal life-changing health secrets every single week that the mainstream health industry doesn't want you to know. Let's begin with the single most powerful leg strengthening habit that 91% of adults over 60 completely ignore: the loaded sit-to-stand progression. This isn't just an exercise. It's the foundation of your independence. Here's the shocking truth. Researchers at the University of Queensland found that the ability to stand up from a seated position without using your hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity and independence. People who struggle with this simple movement have a 3.7 times higher risk of falling within the next year. And falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death in people over 65. But here's what your doctor never told you. This movement isn't just a test. It's also the solution. By practicing this exact pattern daily, you're directly strengthening the exact muscle groups that prevent falls and maintain independence. Start with a standard chair height. Sit down, then stand up without using your hands. Begin with 5 repetitions twice daily. Once that becomes easy, make it harder, use a lower chair or hold a small weight. The key is progressive overload, gradually making the movement more challenging as you get stronger. Harvard Medical School researchers discovered that seniors who performed this exercise just 3 times weekly for 8 weeks increased their leg strength by 32% and improved their balance by 28%. This single habit alone can add years of mobility to your life. But it's just the beginning of what I'm about to reveal. What makes this first habit so powerful isn't just the movement itself. It's that it specifically targets the quadriceps and gluteal muscles, which are the first to atrophy with age. These muscle groups are critical for every movement from climbing stairs to getting out of a car. And here's something your doctor probably never mentioned. These large muscle groups also serve as your body's largest glycogen storage sites. Keeping them strong helps regulate your blood sugar levels, which is why this exercise has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity by up to 19% in adults over 60. There's another critical component to this first habit: timing. Research from the University of Copenhagen shows that performing sit-to-stands first thing in the morning actually enhances the neural activation patterns throughout the day. This means your brain-to-muscle connection stays stronger for all activities. Try doing your first set within 30 minutes of waking up, before breakfast, to maximize this neural priming effect. Now let's move to the second habit, what I call the ankle awakening. And it's probably the most neglected yet critical aspect of leg strength after 60. Your ankles are the foundation of your entire leg system, but they weaken rapidly with age. University of Michigan researchers found that ankle strength and mobility decrease twice as fast as knee strength in adults over 65. This weakness creates a dangerous chain reaction up your entire leg, altering your walking pattern and stressing your knees and hips. Here's what to do. Twice daily, perform ankle circles, 10 rotations in each direction with each foot. Then point and flex each foot 15 times. Finally, practice heel raises while holding onto a counter for support. Rise up onto your toes, hold for 3 seconds, then slowly lower down. Start with 10 repetitions and build to 20. This simple routine takes just 3 minutes but activates all the small stabilizing muscles in your ankles that prevent dangerous sideways falls. A study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy showed that seniors who performed these ankle exercises daily reduced their fall risk by 36% within just 6 weeks. But there's something even more important you need to know about this habit. It doesn't just prevent falls. It also improves circulation to your feet and lower legs, reducing the risk of dangerous blood clots that can lead to stroke or pulmonary embolism. The most surprising aspect of ankle strengthening is how it affects your proprioception, your body's awareness of its position in space. After age 60, proprioceptive abilities decline by approximately 3% per year unless actively trained. The tiny muscles and nerves in your ankles provide critical feedback to your brain about balance and position. When these weaken, your brain receives delayed or inaccurate information, dramatically increasing fall risk. There's also a fascinating connection between ankle mobility and cognitive function that was discovered recently. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Neurorehabilitation found that improved ankle mobility was correlated with increased blood flow to the cerebellum, the brain region responsible for movement coordination and certain cognitive functions. Participants who performed daily ankle mobilization exercises showed improved performance not just in physical tests but also in cognitive processing speed tests. For maximum benefit, perform your ankle exercises barefoot whenever possible. This allows the small proprioceptors in your feet to receive maximum stimulation. And here's a powerful enhancement. After completing your ankle circles and flexes, stand barefoot on a slightly uneven surface, like a folded towel, for 60 seconds per leg. This simple addition challenges your balance systems and accelerates the proprioceptive training effect. The third habit addresses what researchers now call the sitting disease, and it's silently destroying your leg strength hour by hour. The average American over 60 sits for 9.4 hours daily, a disaster for your leg muscles. When you sit for extended periods, your glutes, the largest muscles in your body, literally begin to forget how to fire properly. This condition, called gluteal amnesia, forces smaller, weaker muscles to compensate, creating a dangerous cascade of muscle imbalances. The solution isn't just sit less. It's to interrupt your sitting strategically. Set a timer for every 30 minutes of sitting. When it goes off, stand up and perform what physical therapists call a glute bridge, or simply squeeze your buttocks muscles tightly for 10 seconds. Then take 20 steps before sitting again. This micro-movement pattern reactivates the neural pathways to your glutes, preventing the amnesia effect from taking hold. A groundbreaking study from the University of Indiana found that breaking up sitting with just 1 minute of activity every half hour reduced arterial stiffness and improved blood sugar control significantly, both critical factors for maintaining leg health as you age. This habit becomes even more important if you're taking any blood pressure medications, as these can mask the symptoms of poor circulation until it's too late. What's particularly insidious about prolonged sitting is how it affects your hip flexor muscles. These muscles connect your lower spine to your femurs and are crucial for healthy gait patterns. When you sit for extended periods, these muscles shorten and tighten, pulling your pelvis into an interior tilt. This altered pelvic position then changes how your glutes activate during walking, creating a compensation pattern that places excessive stress on your knees and lower back. A 2021 study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that adults who broke up their sitting with brief movement intervals maintained hip flexor length and pelvic positioning significantly better than those who exercised vigorously for 30 minutes but then sat uninterrupted for the rest of the day. This finding revolutionizes how we should think about movement. Frequency is often more important than duration or intensity. There's an additional technique to enhance this habit that few people know about: the hip hinge practice. During your sitting breaks, place your hands on a counter or table. Push your hips backward while keeping your spine neutral. Then return to standing by driving your hips forward. This simple movement pattern helps reprogram proper hip function and counteracts the negative effects of sitting more effectively than just walking alone. The fourth habit is what podiatrists call foot foundation training, and it addresses a critical weakness that develops in 87% of adults over 60. The small muscles inside your feet. Yes, there are over 20 muscles in each foot, weaken dramatically with age and modern footwear. These intrinsic foot muscles are your body's natural shock absorbers and stabilizers. When they weaken, your entire leg alignment suffers. The solution is surprisingly simple. Spend 10 minutes daily walking barefoot on various surfaces: carpet, hardwood, grass if possible. While barefoot, practice picking up small objects with your toes. Marbles or small towels work perfectly. Finally, spread your toes as wide as possible, hold for 5 seconds, then release. Repeat 10 times. A fascinating study from the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research showed that seniors who performed these simple foot exercises increased their walking stability by 41% in just 4 weeks. The improvement was even greater than what's typically seen with expensive orthotics or specialized footwear. But there's something even more remarkable about this habit. It doesn't just strengthen your feet. It actually reactivates the nerve endings that send critical balance information to your brain, improving your body's entire proprioception system. What most people don't realize is that your feet contain over 200,000 nerve endings, among the highest concentration in your entire body. These nerve endings are responsible for instantaneous feedback about your position and the surface you're standing on. Modern cushioned shoes, while comfortable, actually block much of this sensory information from reaching your brain. It's like trying to touch type while wearing thick gloves. The feedback is muffled. Recent research from the University of North Carolina found that the mechanoreceptors in senior feet begin to atrophy when consistently cushioned, leading to decreased sensory awareness. This diminished awareness correlates directly with increased fall risk. The simple act of barefoot walking on varied textures stimulates these receptors, essentially waking them up and reestablishing crucial neural pathways. There's also a fascinating connection between foot strength and arch support. Your foot's arch is designed to be dynamic, expanding and contracting with each step to absorb shock and return energy. When the intrinsic foot muscles weaken, many people turn to rigid arch supports. While these may provide temporary comfort, they further weaken the very muscles needed for long-term foot health. It's a dangerous cycle that the fourth habit directly addresses by strengthening these muscles naturally. For an advanced version of this habit, try this. Place a small towel flat on the floor and use your toes to grip and crumble it toward you. Once you've gathered the entire towel, use your toes to push it back out flat again. This exercise specifically targets the often neglected intrinsic foot muscles and dramatically improves foot stability during walking. The fifth critical habit addresses what researchers at the Mayo Clinic have identified as anterior chain dominance, a dangerous muscle imbalance that affects nearly all adults over 60. Throughout our lives, we predominantly use the muscles on the front of our legs, the quadriceps, while the posterior chain muscles, particularly the hamstrings and calves, weaken dramatically. This imbalance pulls the body forward, creating that stooped posture seen in many older adults. The solution is to perform what physical therapists call posterior chain activation daily. Stand facing a wall, placing your hands on the wall for support. Step 1 foot back about 2 feet, keeping that leg straight while bending your front knee slightly. Lean forward until you feel a stretch in the back leg's calf. Hold for 30 seconds, then switch legs. Next, perform the same movement but bend your back knee slightly to shift the stretch up to your hamstrings. What makes this habit so powerful is that it doesn't just stretch these muscles. It retrains your nervous system to maintain their length-tension relationship correctly. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that adults who performed this posterior chain activation daily for 6 weeks improved their walking speed by 17% and decreased their risk of backward falls by nearly 30%. This habit becomes increasingly important after age 70, when posterior chain weakness accelerates even faster. This posterior chain weakness creates what biomechanists call a flexion bias. Your body develops a tendency to bend forward, rather than maintaining an upright posture. This forward bias not only contributes to the stereotypical elderly appearance, but also significantly increases the work required by your leg muscles during normal activities. It's like carrying a heavy backpack all day. It exhausts your energy reserves much faster. A groundbreaking study from the University of Waterloo demonstrated that this forward-leaning posture increases the energy cost of walking by up to 30% in older adults. This means that someone with poor posterior chain function has to work nearly 1/3 harder to walk the same distance as someone with balanced leg strength. No wonder fatigue becomes such a limiting factor with age. There's also a direct connection between posterior chain function and respiratory capacity. When your posterior chain weakens and your posture shifts forward, your diaphragm can't expand fully. This reduced expansion decreases oxygen intake by up to 30%. Further contributing to fatigue and reduced physical capacity. By strengthening your posterior chain, you're not just improving your leg function, you're literally enhancing your ability to breathe efficiently. For an advanced version of this habit, try adding a gentle hip extension movement at the end of your wall stretch. With your hands still on the wall, slightly tuck your pelvis under and squeeze your glutes. This additional movement activates the gluteal muscles, the most powerful muscles in the posterior chain and critical for stable walking and stair climbing. The sixth habit is what I call hydration for motion, and it addresses a critical factor in leg health that almost everyone ignores: Dehydration affects 47% of seniors, according to the National Council on Aging, and it has a direct impact on your leg strength and function. When you're even slightly dehydrated, the synovial fluid that lubricates your joints becomes thicker and less effective. Simultaneously, your muscle tissues become stiffer and more prone to injury. The solution isn't just drinking more water. It's drinking water strategically for leg health. Begin each day with 16 ounces of water before breakfast to rehydrate after the night's fast. Then, crucially, drink 8 ounces of water 20 minutes before any walking or leg exercises. Research at Loughborough University found that this pre-activity hydration timing improves muscle performance by up to 19% compared to exercising in a slightly dehydrated state. Additionally, add a pinch of high-quality sea salt to your morning water. This provides trace minerals like magnesium and potassium that are essential for proper muscle contraction. A study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that adults who maintained optimal hydration experienced 26% less muscle cramping and reported significantly less joint pain than those who were even mildly dehydrated. What makes proper hydration so crucial for leg health specifically is the composition of your leg muscles. Your legs contain some of the largest muscle groups in your body, and these muscles are approximately 76% water. Even mild dehydration, just 2% of your body weight, can reduce muscle strength by up to 14% and dramatically slow your nerve conduction velocity, which is critical for balance and coordination. There's also an often overlooked connection between hydration and circulation. When you're properly hydrated, your blood volume increases, improving circulation to your extremities. This enhanced circulation delivers more oxygen and nutrients to your leg muscles, while more efficiently removing metabolic waste products. The result is greater endurance, less fatigue, and faster recovery. It's worth noting that many medications commonly prescribed to adults over 60, including certain blood pressure medications, antihistamines, and some diabetes drugs, have a diuretic effect that increases fluid loss. If you're taking any of these medications, you may need to be even more vigilant about strategic hydration to maintain optimal leg function. For maximum benefit, consider investing in a water bottle with time markings to track your intake throughout the day. Aim for at least 64 ounces daily, distributed evenly from morning to early evening. Avoid excessive intake after 7 p.m. to prevent nighttime bathroom trips that can disrupt your sleep. Another critical factor in maintaining leg strength and function. The seventh habit is what geriatric specialists now recognize as perhaps the most underrated factor in maintaining leg strength after 60. Strategic protein timing. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at using protein to build and maintain muscle, a condition called anabolic resistance. This means that even if you're eating enough total protein daily, you might not be benefiting from it fully. The solution is to distribute your protein intake strategically throughout the day, with special attention to the post-exercise window. Consume at least 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein within 30 minutes after any leg-strengthening activities. This precisely timed protein intake triggers what researchers call the muscle protein synthesis response, much more effectively than consuming the same amount of protein hours later. A landmark study in the Journal of Physiology found that adults over 65 who practiced this strategic protein timing increased their leg muscle synthesis by 44% compared to those who consumed the same amount of protein in a typical 3-meal pattern. The optimal sources include eggs, Greek yogurt, lean meats, or a high-quality whey protein shake that includes leucine, the amino acid most responsible for triggering muscle growth. This habit becomes even more critical if you're taking statin medications for cholesterol, as these drugs can sometimes reduce muscle protein synthesis, making strategic timing all the more important for maintaining leg strength. What's fascinating about protein timing is how it affects different types of muscle fibers. Your legs contain both slow-twitch endurance and fast-twitch power muscle fibers. After age 60, fast-twitch fibers atrophy nearly twice as quickly as slow-twitch fibers. Yet these are precisely the fibers needed for quick stabilization when you're off balance or need to climb stairs efficiently. Research from McMaster University found that strategic protein timing particularly benefits these vulnerable fast-twitch fibers. The study demonstrated that seniors who consumed 30 grams of protein within the post-exercise anabolic window maintained significantly more fast-twitch fiber diameter than those consuming the same amount of daily protein distributed differently. There's also an important synergy between protein timing and vitamin D status. Even perfect protein timing won't optimize muscle synthesis if your vitamin D levels are insufficient, a common issue in adults over 60. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with optimal vitamin D levels, above 40 ing/ml, showed a 33% greater muscle protein synthesis response to protein intake than those with insufficient levels. For maximum benefit, combine your post-exercise protein with a small amount of carbohydrate, about 15 to 20 grams. This combination stimulates insulin release, which enhances amino acid transport into muscle cells. Something as simple as Greek yogurt with berries or an egg sandwich on whole grain bread provides the ideal macronutrient profile for this critical recovery window. And here's a tip few people know. Casein protein, found in cottage cheese and Greek yogurt, is particularly effective before bedtime. Its slow-digesting properties provide a steady amino acid release throughout the night, reducing the muscle breakdown that naturally occurs during sleep. Try consuming 20 grams of casein protein about 30 minutes before bed to support overnight muscle maintenance. The eighth habit addresses what neurologists now recognize as a critical factor in maintaining leg function: brain-muscle reconnection training. After age 60, the neural pathways that connect your brain to your leg muscles begin to deteriorate, a process called neural atrophy. This means that even if your muscles are physically strong enough, the signals from your brain might not reach them efficiently, resulting in poor coordination and increased fall risk. The solution is to perform exercises that specifically challenge the brain-muscle connection. Stand near a counter for support and slowly march in place, raising your knees as high as comfortable. As you do this, touch your right hand to your left knee, then left hand to right knee. Perform this cross-body pattern for 60 seconds daily, gradually increasing speed as your coordination improves. For an advanced version, try changing the pattern unpredictably. Skip a knee or touch with the same side hand occasionally. This unpredictability forces your brain to stay fully engaged rather than slipping into autopilot. A fascinating study from the Journal of Neurophysiology found that seniors who performed these neural connection exercises improved their reaction time by 31% and reduced their risk of falls during unexpected balance challenges by nearly 50%. This improvement happened even without significant changes in actual muscle size, proving that the brain-muscle connection is just as important as the strength of the muscles themselves. You should know that this habit becomes increasingly important if you take any medications that affect the central nervous system, including certain blood pressure medications, sleep aids, or pain relievers, as these can sometimes blunt the brain-muscle communication even further. What makes these cross-body movements so effective is that they force communication between the left and right hemispheres of your brain, a process facilitated by a bundle of nerve fibers called the corpus callosum. After age 60, the efficiency of this cross-hemisphere communication naturally declines unless actively trained. The cross-body pattern directly stimulates this pathway, enhancing overall neural efficiency. There's also a fascinating connection to cognitive health. A longitudinal study from the University of Illinois found that seniors who regularly performed cross-body coordination exercises showed significantly better preservation of white matter integrity in their brains over a 5-year period compared to those who performed single-sided exercises. This white matter preservation correlated with both better physical performance and better cognitive test scores. For maximum benefit, try performing this exercise while walking slowly in a straight line. This additional challenge forces your brain to coordinate both the cross-body pattern and the walking movement simultaneously, further enhancing the neural training effect. Start with just 10 steps and gradually increase as your coordination improves. Another powerful enhancement is to add a verbal component. Try counting backward from 100 by sevens while performing the cross-body marching. This dual-tasking approach mirrors real-world situations where you need to maintain leg function while your brain is occupied with something else, like walking while having a conversation. Research shows that this type of dual-task training is particularly effective for preventing falls in real-world environments. Now, before I reveal the most shocking secret about leg strength that almost nobody knows, I need to address something critical: the biggest mistake people make when trying to strengthen their legs after 60. Most people focus exclusively on resistance training using weights or machines. While resistance is important, research now shows it's only half the equation. The other half, which most people completely ignore, is power training. Power is the ability to generate force quickly. After age 60, power declines nearly twice as fast as strength itself. This is why many seniors who seem strong enough still struggle to catch themselves during a stumble or climb stairs efficiently. Traditional slow strength training doesn't address this power component. The solution is to incorporate controlled speed into your leg exercises. After mastering the basic sit-to-stand movement I described earlier, begin performing the upward phase more quickly, while still controlling the downward phase. This trains your fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones that save you when you need to react quickly to prevent a fall. A groundbreaking study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors who incorporated power training just twice weekly improved their functional ability, more than those doing traditional strength training 3 times weekly, despite spending less total time exercising. This finding has revolutionized how geriatric specialists approach leg strengthening. The key to effective power training is the principle of velocity specificity. Your muscles adapt specifically to the speed at which you train them. If you only ever perform slow movements, your body becomes efficient at generating force slowly but loses the ability to produce force quickly when needed. This is particularly problematic when you need to recover from a stumble or near fall, which requires rapid force generation. There's an important distinction to understand here. Power training doesn't mean unsafe or uncontrolled movements. It means performing the concentric lifting phase of movements with intention and appropriate speed, while maintaining perfect control during the eccentric, lowering phase. For the sit-to-stand example, this means rising to standing position in about 1 second while taking about 3 seconds to return to the seated position. A fascinating study from the University of New Hampshire found that this type of controlled power training not only improved muscle function but also enhanced the neural drive to muscles, essentially teaching your nervous system to activate more muscle fibers simultaneously when needed. This neural adaptation occurs much faster than actual changes in muscle size, meaning you'll experience functional improvements within just 2 to 3 weeks of beginning this type of training. For maximum safety and effectiveness, begin incorporating power components only after you've established a foundation of proper movement patterns. Start with just 5 to 6 repetitions using body weight only, gradually increasing to 8 to 10 repetitions before considering adding external resistance. And always maintain perfect form. Power without control increases injury risk and reduces training effectiveness. Another powerful application of this principle is during walking. Try incorporating short power intervals during your regular walks. 10 to 15 seconds of more rapid walking followed by 30 to 45 seconds at your normal pace. These brief accelerations train your neuromuscular system to transition between different power outputs smoothly, a critical skill for navigating real-world environments safely. And now, the most shocking revelation about leg strength after 60 that ties everything together. Your leg strength is not just about your legs. It's the single most accurate predictor of your brain health and cognitive function as you age. This connection, called the mind-muscle link, is transforming how neurologists view cognitive decline. Multiple large-scale studies, including one published in the journal Neurology tracking over 8,000 adults for 11 years, found that leg strength was more closely correlated with cognitive preservation than any other physical measure. Even more remarkably, this connection worked both ways. Strengthening the legs actually improved brain function over time. Here's why this happens. The large muscles in your legs generate specific proteins called myokines during contraction. These myokines travel through your bloodstream and cross the blood-brain barrier, where they stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, often called fertilizer for the brain. BDNF promotes the growth of new neurons and strengthens existing neural connections, directly fighting cognitive decline. This explains why people with stronger legs consistently show better memory, faster processing speed, and lower rates of dementia. It isn't just correlation. It's a direct physiological connection that science has only recently understood. When your legs weaken, your brain follows. But when you strengthen your legs using the habits I've shared today, you're not just preventing falls, you're literally protecting your mind. The implications of this mind-muscle connection are profound. A remarkable study from King's College London found that identical twins with stronger legs showed significantly better cognitive preservation over a 10-year period compared to their weaker-legged siblings, despite identical genetics and similar lifestyles. This finding provides some of the strongest evidence that leg strength isn't just correlated with brain health, but actually helps cause it. What's particularly fascinating is how this relationship becomes even more pronounced after age 70. Data from the Rush Memory and Aging Project showed that the correlation between leg strength and cognitive preservation strengthened with advancing age, suggesting that maintaining leg strength becomes increasingly important for brain health as we get older. There's also a critical feedback loop at work. Strong legs enable you to stay more physically active, which increases blood flow to the brain. This enhanced circulation then supports better cognitive function, which improves your movement coordination and balance, allowing you to be even more active. It's a virtuous cycle that builds upon itself. But it all starts with leg strength. This connection explains a puzzling finding from epidemiological research: why walking speed is such a powerful predictor of longevity. Multiple studies have shown that gait speed, how fast you naturally walk, correlates more strongly with life expectancy than almost any other single measure. We now understand that this isn't just because walking speed reflects overall health. It's because the leg strength that enables faster walking directly supports brain health through the myokine BDNF pathway. The most immediate application of this knowledge is clear. By implementing the 8 habits I've shared today, you're not just protecting your mobility and independence. You're actively preserving your cognitive function and fighting against dementia. It's a profound 2-for-1 benefit that makes these habits among the most valuable investments you can make in your future health. Think about that for a moment. The simple leg-strengthening habits I've shared today aren't just about avoiding falls or staying independent, although they absolutely do that. They're actually protecting your brain, your memories, and your cognitive future. This mind-muscle connection is so powerful that researchers at King's College London now suggest that leg strength tests should be part of standard cognitive risk screening after age 60. If you found this information valuable, please hit the like button right now. It helps more people discover this critical information. And if you want to learn more about protecting your health as you age, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. Which of these 8 leg strengthening habits do you think you'll start first? Comment below and let me know which one surprised you the most. I read every comment, and your feedback helps shape our future videos. And if you thought this information was eye-opening, you absolutely need to see my next video on the 7 foods silently destroying your muscle mass after 60. Because chances are, you're eating at least 3 of them every single day. That video will be linked on your screen in just a moment. Remember, your legs are the foundation of your independence, mobility, and now we know even your cognitive health. Start implementing these habits today, and you'll feel the difference in just 14 days. Your future self will thank you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.